Guitar Academy again, and it's Rock Month still over here on our YouTube channel, and today we've got Thomas with us. Hello, Thomas.
Hello, Thomas.
So Thomas is going to be, you probably would have seen him before because he has done videos for us a couple of years ago, been part of the company for a long time now, and now he's back. And he's actually, you wouldn't guess it from our current lineup here, but he's here to do a lot of acoustic videos for us. So over the next few months, you're going to be seeing a lot more acoustic content coming out. Thomas is an incredible player. We'll show you all that on our Instagram account and everywhere else. But for now, we're still in Rock Month, okay? And what we want to kind of unpack today, I'm sure you guys are thinking, let's just learn that solo that Thomas just improvised. But actually, we're going to break this down, right? So this part. You know, just that. Because we want to talk about how and why is that so powerful? Why is that so good? It's very much based on that AC/DC classic. And just, that's pure classic rock, right? Yeah. It doesn't get more classic rock than that sound. So I'll throw it over to you first, Thomas. Why do you think that sounds so good, and how do we get there,
So I always think about things like this in terms of the aspects of music. There's four main aspects: melody, harmony, rhythm, and tonality. Okay. So here, obviously, we don't have melody going on. We just got the other three, but that's enough. Okay. So we can tackle each of those on their own. So the tonality, simple. We got a guitar, we put some grit on it, boom. That's all we need. And that's one of the beautiful things about it. Like, that's why rock was so successful, because it was so simple. You just get a simple chord, like a power chord. So that comes into the harmony, but simple chord. Yeah. Just put some grit on it, boom.
Yeah. And when you say grit,
just like a little bit of drive, bit of distortion. Obviously, as time went on, the distortion levels went up.
Yeah, of course.
But for this classic rock, when you listen to it back, it's not that distorted compared to some of the stuff now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's one of the things. That's the tonality. Then the harmony is typically just power chords. Yeah. More or less. Sometimes you'll hear like the kind of major third popping in. Yeah. But it's typically power chords. Yeah. And then if you want to go a bit deeper, like it's Mixolydian's the sound of rock.
Okay.
We won't go into that.
Not yet.
Bombshell just yet. But so we're going to say power chords. Yeah. And then the other aspect was the rhythm. Yeah. That's, I think, where this really lives. If we were to strip all of it back and play a rhythm that's not quite the same, but keep the other two aspects, you're going to hear that it's not really that classic rock sound. It becomes something else.
I mean, an obvious example of that, so if we took the same chord, so as you actually touched upon, it is like an A power chord.
The most powerful of all chords.
Not the only power, exactly. And maybe only the E power chord is more powerful, perhaps?
Perhaps. But that's,
But
A is,
true, it's where you want to be. And it does occasionally, I know even when I'm playing it, occasionally you hit that major third on top, and you hear it a little bit, but really the overarching sound is just that root, fifth, root.
It's kind of implied, like there's other stuff around that happens that kind of implies that major third. Yeah. But like you say, you kind of hear it sometimes, and sometimes you think you hear it. Yeah. But actually it's not there.
And quite a lot, what you would have probably heard in the jam that we played is me playing a power chord, Thomas playing a major pentatonic a lot of the time, and then a minor pentatonic. So you implied it by what you played over the top a lot of the time as well. Anyway, so the rhythm, so if we take Thomas's point and like, rather than, and just do the same rhythm, but without all that good stuff, which we'll talk about. Out. And it's just,
It's
just weak.
Yeah, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But that's not the finer points of the music.
You can't imagine Angus Young like rocking that out.
It's campfire rock.
It's campfire rock. Yeah. This is the acoustic version of that track kind of thing. I absolutely agree with you. And so let's attempt. I mean, a lot of times we were talking about this even before the cameras came on. Like, it's quite rare to see people unpacking rhythms and that kind of style of stuff, because it is a little bit harder to teach. So we're going to do quite a steady job here of just going through this. So I think we start this, because to learn how to play this, yes, you could just sit there and kind of work with the kind of, almost like a tab format of learning. But I think it's better to do it in a step-by-step manner so that we get the right hand really doing what it should be doing in time. So really, if we break it down before we add any of the fancy stuff, the rhythm in like an 8th note format, if I try and clean this up, clean, is like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. Let me do that again. I'm going to look at my arrows. Ready? And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Let's do it without counting. So do you want to try that with me? If you can. Let's go. Impressive. Try it at home. That's your rhythm, isn't it?
Yeah.
In an 8th note format. So if you were going to campfire strummy, that's it.
Yes.
So how do we get from there to what it actually sounds like?
Then it's the techniques around it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll let you talk about like the 16th side of it.
Okay.
Just to really throw that in.
Yeah, great. Excited about that.
So one of the big aspects is going to be the palm muting. Get that sound.
Yeah.
So we get the drive of the rhythm without almost the pullback of the big long open sounds.
Yeah.
When we get this like short, sharp, choppy sound,
that
is already the huge part of the rock sound, is that driving rhythm, but just that mixed in with the other things.
Yeah.
So I think that technique and palm muting, just getting it just where the strings meet the bridge, not over here, because it'll kind of kill the strings too much.
Yeah.
But just right, and you get a really nice mix of the strings ringing and them not quite ringing out. And then it's just the longs and the shorts of the notes. And you notice the accents as well.
Accents. Yeah.
So hitting those
there's two
accents,
different things. Let's
yes, they are. That's right. So the accents being the harder hits.
Yeah.
Typically, the accent notes are 1 and 3.
Yeah.
But to kind of not quite go into another thing just yet, we are playing them just off the beat.
Yeah.
So we've kind of shifted those a little bit.
Push. We could call it a push.
We've pushed them a little bit. But the same idea, we've targeted those notes and just pushed them. So the push on the 1 and then the 3. And you'd hear that the others in between are a little bit softer, not quite as jumpy out.
So why don't we try, this will be interesting, see if we can do this. So let's first of all switch it to 16ths then. And what we'll try and do is one by one, bring in each of those different aspects to see how each one impacts the groove kind of thing. So the first thing is the 16th note vibe. So you notice when Thomas does it and when we were jamming it earlier, rather than this hand, this is something that we teach a lot for beginners up to an intermediate level, but then you want to be moving into 16th notes. And we do associate typically 16th notes with, that kind of funky stuff. But in rock, 16th notes literally gives you the opportunity to just do all downstrokes. Right? It just doubles the speed of your hand, but all we're really interested in rock is just the downstrokes, okay? So we're going to change this to just downstrokes like this.
And you hear the sound just evens out so much as soon as you do that.
Yeah, we just got that low, rich sound. Now, if someone came to me as a beginner and did that, I'd instantly correct it. We'd be like, well, no, we need to do this. But as an intermediate player, we need to now move away from that into the more 16th notes. But you notice I'm still keeping my hand moving like that. It's just tighter to the fretboard.
Yeah.
But notice it's still bouncing.
Yeah.
The count is 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E.
It's hard enough.
I'm not even going to count. I'm not even going to bother counting that. But you get the idea.
Yeah.
We got the movement, and then we double up the movement, and we now play the same rhythm that we've got, but now just with downstrokes. Straight away, it sounds more rock, right? So to that, let's add in, what one should we add first? The
palm mute. Yeah.
I'll let you do that.
Okay, so we went from.
Yeah.
So we'll target the ones we want to palm mute. So not the accents typically.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
And then back into the
yeah,
open.
yeah.
So you got to get that coordination of lifting that off at the right time.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, just
throw the plectrum out the
just
window.
very subtly.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah,
really
yeah.
kind of start to hear that sound coming through.
Yeah. So keep going, and I'll talk as you do it. Because it's really hard to talk and do this at the time. For us, we've been playing this for so many years, it feels so natural. But obviously, for you guys, we've got to unpack this so much to get this really clear. So slow down a bit. Yeah, nice. So Thomas has got those accents. One, ba, da. So that first accent is the push. That's the one just before the one. That's a huge part of AC/DC sound. You hear that constantly in that kind of classic rock. It just pushes in. It almost feels like the drums catch up after.
Yes.
It's really cool
And
sound.
it gives so much like forward momentum to the
yeah,
music. If we
yeah.
take that out and it was 2, 3, 4. I can't even do it. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
2,
Because
3,
you wouldn't.
4.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's like
You're in a
Rocky Bob Marley.
Well, it is like that. But yeah, you're right. That pushes and it drives it forward, absolutely. And then you hit the second the second attack on the 3.
Yeah. Well, there's one is the 1 and the 4 and.
Yeah, okay.
But the next accent's on the 3.
That's an accent. Yeah. Which is a nice combo. You got the little push at the beginning and then bang on the snare after that. So it doesn't always feel like it's off, it just pushes in and it's bang. So you got those 2 accents, and then with your palm muting, you're mainly palm muting that. So we got the those first 2 hits there, and then those 2 palm mutes down there, right? So do that again. Yeah, nice. And again. And then you hit that 3.
Yes. That's another little subtle thing to talk about is the staccato in the 3.
Yeah.
So to use a fancy phrase, the staccato is just like cutting it short.
Yeah.
Just, it's not ringing out, it's not doing the campfire, it's...
Yeah.
And it's just hitting it with the right hand to kill the strings.
Yeah. Do you know what, honestly, it's something I talked about on the on the Angus Young course. When I was recording a track to sound as much like AC/DC as possible, I recorded it, and it was kind of like, depending on exactly how long I left that note hanging out for, it completely changed the vibe.
Oh, massively.
If you do it too short, it's just too short. It just doesn't work. It has to ring a teeny bit, so you hear it like it was almost like it expands and then comes in like that kind of. Do you know what I mean? So it's just totally mad because there's all these subtleties that go on. All it is for the user is just, for the listener, that's it. It's one thing that loops over and over and over again. But within that, you've got the dynamics, you've got all that, you've got that staccato element, you've got the palm muting, and all those other things that we talked about that go into that riff, right?
Yeah. There's so much technique just in that one little bit that just looped. Yeah. And that kind of makes it up, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the other thing is when we were doing that jam, we use this. It's almost like that classic blues concept of tension.
Yes.
By playing that chord so many times round, the tension is almost unbearable, especially for guitar players that like to play a lot. The tension is almost unbearable, and you're jamming over it. It's all great, but you are just waiting for me to change that chord.
change.
As soon as that chord changes, everything changes. So what we did in that jam was just throw in a couple of other classic open chord, power chord shapes. So we did that kind of G, where you play the G without the major thirds, and same with the D, where you can get a low A in that D, where you play it again without the F sharp, the major third on top. So it's just a G and a D in this instance, but you can do pretty much whatever you want. It just has to come away from the chord.
Yeah.
So we built up this crazy amount of tension by
doing that for eternity.
I don't know how, I must have done it for a minute. I mean, for me that felt like torture at times, just like it has to change. But I guarantee if you're sitting there with a drummer, a bass player, and you're just jamming out, you won't even want to change sometimes because it's just such a good feeling to just be on that. And then when you do change it, if you listen to the kind of release that then we pull back into the chord. Just doing that. tension. Glorious tension. You know, it's like overstaying your welcome at a party. Yeah. And then suddenly, you know, we open it up.
Yeah.
And then we pull it right back.
Yeah.
And you know, that's a great feeling when you're soloing, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, just hitting that, having that kind of color come into it.
Yeah.
You know, you're sitting on that one bit for so long, you're like, oh, there's that lovely feeling of breaking out of it.
Yeah. And I think typically, I mean, I've obviously listened to a lot of AC/DC recently because of the course that I did. That's almost verse chorus, you know, like the verses is quite, you know, it's one thing or maybe two chords or something like that. They're very simple, very repeated, quite staccato-y, lots of the palm muting. Yeah. And then in the chorus, it just opens up loads of chord shifts. Yes. Still simple.
Kind of like longer held notes as well.
Yeah.
And the kind of the drums and the bass almost fill more of the driving rhythm.
Yeah.
I mean, the drums are always there, but like the guitar and the verse kind of leads it. Yeah. And then the guitar almost takes like a background and just kind of that kind of thing. Whilst the bass and the drums almost like leap into the foreground.
They're giving it the old, you know, the chromatic movement and all that stuff. The drummer's going for it. The cymbals are splashy. You know, the Ron Burgundy. The bass line's going for a walk. And that's exactly it. And then you do that, and then suddenly you're back into the staccato, and it's like, wow, that sounds huge.
Yeah,
it just sounds massive. So cool. Anything else to add to that? What do we think?
I think then trying to look at your favorite rock riffs and seeing which of those boxes does it tick.
Yeah.
Probably most of them, if not all of them.
So we're looking out for, let's see if we can do a little checklist here. We're looking out for the push, so just before the one, and then you're looking out for accents, so where we hit it big. We're looking out for the staccato sound, so where we've stopped it short deliberately, or maybe you've got one note that's long. So for example, in this riff, we've got that. So that first one is long.
It's long, and then the short.
And then we're short. So that kind of play, interchange. And then of course, it should be very likely it will be all downstrokes. And there'll be palm muting elements within that. Yeah. So that's quite a lengthy list, but when you piece them all together, you get that essentially. Right, cool. So in that case, have a go with that. So with your own rock riffs, see if you can kind of check through some of those boxes. And we highly recommend just learning that. You know, just trying to play along to that kind of track, just on an A. And you can just use a simple 4/4 drum beat if you have access to it. We'll pop one on the website. For you to go and play along to and just have fun with it. So that's it from me and Thomas. We'll see you next time.